Hi guys, I'm Prashant. I run Wordpandit and the Ultimate VARC course. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to analyze VARC section in section tests and mocks. Most of us have this question that how should we go about analyzing this particular section? What does it involve, right? The first step for the analysis process is you obviously need to take the test. Without taking the test, you can't analyze it. And why do I stress this here? A lot of you would actually think that this is a silly point, but the important thing here to remember is a lot of us skip tests, right? We are not regular with tests. We skip them. We think that we're going to start next week. So in case you're one of these students, please don't do that. Start taking tests. Now the first thing you do is you take the test and you review your answers. This is the obvious one. But the important thing is before you look at the solutions, you should always try to resolve the question or identify why did you get the question wrong, right? What was the mistake? What was the logical flaw that you committed, right? Probably if there were 4 options and you were able to nail down 2 options, was it the other option that you picked? Why did you pick this option? Why did you skip the other option, right? Once you've done this analysis, once you've gone through this analysis, that is when you read the solutions, right? So before you read the solutions, you need to exercise your brain a little more. Just always remember that this small little thing is going to help you in VARC a lot because it's going to build the habit of analysis, right? So most of us are not in the habit of analysis. We do not have a logical approach when it comes to VARC, right? Most of us solve on the basis of gut feeling, and that is something that needs to be reduced. It cannot be completely eliminated. Let's be honest here. Let's be practical here. Let's be pragmatic. It cannot be eliminated, but it can be reduced. It can be controlled. It can be modified. So you introduce this element of analysis while you are going through the solutions. One more thing that you need to do is please review your correct answers as well. This is where the sentiment of gut feeling comes into the picture, right? Now, if you solve on the basis of gut feeling, there are going to be questions that you got right. These are questions that you actually did not solve, but you guessed. So make sure you go through these questions again. Try to understand the logic for these questions as well. And once you can understand the logic for these questions, you confirm the logic used, you go through the explanations, you can confirm the learning value for that particular question, right? Remember, every question offers you some kind of learning value. You should try to extract that out of the question. You do that by this exercise. So you review both your correct and incorrect answers in VARC. VARC is not like quantitative aptitude or data interpretation where you got something right because you solved it correctly. This is where it can happen that you got something right because you guessed it. So that is a sentiment that I want you guys to challenge. I want you guys to look into, right? The next thing which I want you guys to consider here is make sure you check your time management, right? Time management and passage selection is critical in VARC tests. So make sure the time that you spent on different portions of the test, you understand how you could have managed your time better. Identify the passages you should not have solved, right? Same thing with questions. Just try to identify where was it that you spent a lot of time, where was it that you ended up wasting a lot of time, right? Which passage you should have skipped, or which passage did you actually miss, right? So try to understand that. Now with passages, what you should do is, ideally in the exam, if you are in a real exam, how do you understand that you should solve a particular passage? You read the first paragraph, right? And if you're comfortable with the content of that particular paragraph, you proceed. Otherwise, you save it for later. You come back to it in the second round. That's the simplest possible way of doing things, right? Also, another quick check can be you just have a glance at the questions, right? If the questions are all inference based and all based on particular aspects of the passage, that means they're going to require a lot of time. If the questions are based on the main idea, tone, general big picture questions which are based on the overall idea, that means you're not going to spend a lot of time on them. So probably you should solve this kind of a passage first. So try to identify these things a little. Try to approach the exam in a more analytical fashion. Try to identify these things, because if you do that, what is going to happen is your time management is going to improve. You'll have more time, you'll have more control over the section. And remember, The biggest problem is the timer, the clock which is ticking right at the corner, the seconds which are dwindling, right? That's what puts pressure on you, and that's what messes things up. So if you can understand which passages you should skip, which passages you should attempt, if you understand the topics you like, the topics that you don't like, you analyze these different tests, you understand the kind of questions you get correct, the kind of questions you do not get correct, you analyze all this data and you arrive at an exam strategy, you will do much better in the exam, right? And this is something that I want you guys to do, right? The next thing is you've got to make sure that every test you take, there is an element of knowledge gain. You build your knowledge base with every test. You identify the key topics that you struggle with. For example, one of the passages in the topic might be based on inflation. Inflation is an easy topic, but we actually do not know how inflation works. Most of us don't know how economics works. So probably if it's a technical passage on inflation, we might not get it. Or if it's a passage on neoliberal economics, we might not understand it. Or if it's a passage on existentialism in philosophy, these are all topics that we are alien with. It might be a topic on, say, an echo chamber, or it might be a topic based on, it might be a passage based on a topic such as fake news. These are all different topics that are out there. So you understand the topics that you struggled with in the exam. You are not going to quit at this stage. What you're going to do is you're going to go back to the drawing board. You're going to search content for these topics and build your knowledge, right? That is how you improve over a period of time. This is where you identify this is what troubles you, and this is the knowledge that you wish to build up on. You identify keywords, so existentialism, echo chamber, inflation, neoliberal economics. These are all the different keywords that you can possibly find in RC passages. Different kinds of RC passages might be based on these particular concepts. There are hundreds and hundreds of such concepts. The more you expose yourself to these topics, the better it is. So in section tests, you're going to find, in mocks, you're going to find a wonderful set of such words that you can go and explore, a wonderful set of topics. So please do that. Please use Wikipedia. It's free. It's for everyone. You should use it as well. Try to increase your knowledge base with every test, right? That is one simple way of improving yourself, right? This is the simplest possible way of improving your knowledge, and with every subsequent test, you might have scored poorly in a particular test. The test might have gone wrong for you. You might have struggled with the test. But if you can do this right, if you can do this exercise and increase your knowledge, there is something that you can derive out of it, and that is what you should be doing, right? Last set of pointers that you have to keep in mind is, this is all you need to do. There is nothing more than this in VARC section test analysis. There is no rocket science. There is nothing to get worried about. All you have to do is, you've got to focus on, if I summarize it for you, you've got to focus on your question selection, you've got to focus on your passage selection, your time management depends upon these two things. You've got to focus on increasing your knowledge bank, and you've got to make sure that you identify the logic for questions, and you try to eliminate, or if you cannot eliminate, you lower your gut feel, right? Gut feeling based attempts, you try to understand how you can minimize them. This is the sum total of things that you need to do in a VARC analysis. Trust me, if you stick to this process for the next few months or during the course of your preparation, you're gonna enhance your scores and your performance in mock tests and section tests, right? Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you had a great time learning with us these small little nitty-gritties, right? Thank you very much and happy learning.